Welcome, everybody. This is Mastermind number 4. We are here live, all four Jamaican people on the call looking to achieve the best things in life so we can actually live all the life on the beach so that everybody else not enjoy our country and we can actually enjoy it ourselves. So, with
Yeah.
that being said, today we are here with Marcus, Zeron, Shannon, and Edmond joining now. And what we're gonna go over today again, we're just a group of people who are working on being the best version of ourselves. And there are different ways in terms of doing that. One of the books that has been paramount in terms of many people achieving a lot of their goals. Some of the most successful people is Think and Grow Rich. And with Think and Grow Rich, that's what it is that we've been using so far as a guidepost written by Napoleon Hill. And this is what is called, this is how it is that Think and Grow It says that we will achieve the best results from this book. Not just reading it, but actually implementing what exactly it teaches. Many people read it, but not everybody implements what it teaches. And so this is what it is that we are doing. So today, our host is going to be Shannon Gums, and she's going to be guiding us through what are we doing? What, chapter 2?
Mhm.
Chapter 2. So last week we covered chapter 1, the introduction, the story of being 3 feet away from goal, and the 50-cent lesson in persistence. So this week we're gonna go over chapter 2, which is all about desire and the starting point of all achievement. So with that being said, it gives me great pleasure to welcome your host for today, Miss Shannon Gums, a young lady with many ideas, very innovative, and a heart of gold. Shannon, all over to you.
Thank you, Hanif. Okay, for the people who are new, the way we do it is like one person starts reading and then where they leave off, another person picks up and like throughout everything, if you have something that you're like, oh, this sticks out to me, or you want to make a comment on something, then you can do that after the person finished reading, and then we'll go around like that in terms of like sharing what we thought about it. So I can start, and then when I drop off, somebody else can pick up. Chapter 2. Oh, I'm using my phone, so I can't share my screen, if that's okay. Thank you. Chapter 2, Desire. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from the freight train in Orange, New Jersey, more than 30 years ago, he may have resembled a tramp, which, but his thoughts were those of a king. As he made his way from the railroad tracks, Thomas A. Edison's office, his mind was at work. He saw himself standing in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking Mr. Edison for an opportunity to carry out the one consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor. Barnes's desire was not a hope. It was not a wish. It was a keen, pulsating desire which transcended everything else. It was definite. The desire was not new when he approached Edison. It had been Barnes's dominating desire for a long time. In the beginning, when the desire first appeared in his mind, it may have been, probably was, only a wish, but it was no mere wish when he appeared before Edison with it. A few years later, Edwin C. Barnes again stood before Edison in the same office where he first met the inventor. This time, his desire had been translated into reality. He was in business with Edison. The dominating dream of his life had become a reality. Today, people who know Barnes envy him because of the break life yielded him. They see him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal, placed all his energy, all his willpower, all his effort, everything back of that goal. He did not become the partner of Edison the day he arrived. He was content to start in the most menial work, as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one step toward his cherished goal. 5 years passed before the chance he had been seeking made its appearance. During all those years, not one ray of hope, not one promise of attainment of his desire had been held out to him. To everyone except himself, he appeared only another cog in the Edison business wheel, but in his own mind, he was the partner of Edison every minute of the time, from the very day that he first went to work there. It is a remarkable illustration of the power of a definite desire. Barnes won his goal because he wanted to be a business associate of Mr. Edison more than he wanted anything else. He created a plan by which to attain that purpose, but he burned all bridges behind him. He stood by his desire until it became the dominating obsession of his life, and finally a fact. When he went to Orange, he did not say to himself, I will try to induce Edison to give me a job of some sort or some sort. He said, I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go into business with him. He didn't say, I will work there for a few months, and if I get no encouragement, I'll quit and get another job somewhere else. He did say, I will start anywhere. I will do anything Edison tells me to do, but before I am through, I will be his associate. He did not say, I will keep my eyes open for another opportunity in case I fail to get what I want in the Edison organization. He said, there is but one thing in this world that I am determined to have, and that is a business association with Thomas A. Edison. I will burn all bridges behind me and stake my entire future on my ability to get what I want. He left himself no possible way of retreat. He had to win or perish. That is all there is to the Barnes story of success. A long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation which made it necessary for him to make a decision which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe, whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed to the enemy's country, unloaded his soldiers and equipment, then gave the order to burn the ships that had carried them. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, you see the boats going up in smoke? That means we cannot leave these shores alive unless we win. We now have no choice. We win or we perish. They won. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his ships and cut all sources of retreat. Only by so doing can one be sure of maintaining the state of mind known as a burning desire to win, essential to success. The morning after the Great Chicago Fire, a group of merchants stood on State Street looking at the smoking remains of what had been their stores. They went into a conference to decide if they would try to rebuild or leave Chicago and start in a more promising section of the country. They reached a decision, all except one, to leave Chicago. The merchant who decided to stay and rebuild pointed a finger at the remains of his store and said, gentlemen, on that very spot I will build the world's greatest store, no matter how many times it may burn down. This was more than 50 years ago. The store was built. It stands there today, a towering monument of the power of that state of mind known as a burning desire. The easy thing for Marshall Field to have done would have been exactly what his fellow merchants did. When the going was hard and the future looked dismal, they pulled up and went where the going seemed easier. Mark well this difference between Marshall Field and the other merchants, because it is the same difference which distinguishes Edwin C. Barnes from the thousands of other men who have worked in the Edison organization. It is the same difference which distinguishes practically all who succeeded from those who fail. Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches and backing those plans with persistence, which does not recognize failure, will bring riches. The method by which desires for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. First, fix your mind the exact amount of money. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. Be definite as to the amount. There's a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in a subsequent chapter. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There's no such reality as something for nothing. Third, Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. 6, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. I'm done. I will hand it over to somebody else. You can stop at 6. Okay.
So, we can probably discuss a bit of it now.
Okay.
So typically what we'll do, we have somebody who's new, well, two people who are new. Marcus, he already introduced himself. He's in Toronto, and as well as Edmund. Edmund, you wanted to introduce yourself? Eddie? Going once, twice. If you're trying to unmute, look at the bottom of the screen in your left-hand corner. And you see the unmute button. Okay. Yeah, try that. If that doesn't work, then that's also fine.
He said his computer audio is giving trouble.
All right, cool. All right. Well, I'll start then. So for those who may not have known, it's referencing a story, what they were talking about before, how this guy named Edwin Barnes thought his way into partnership with one of the greatest inventors of all time, Thomas Edison. And I mean, when you look at how exactly he did it, he started out by being a janitor where Edison worked. And what really stood out to me, and rereading this book again, this is the third time I'm reading it. The main thing I'm getting from it for me is that the importance of actually doing these things. Like this thing where it says first, fix in your mind the exact amount. Many people will just read this and pass over it. But the people who read it and pass over it and say, okay, yeah, that's how you do it, they'll get here. And you'll achieve some amount of success because your mind has now started to change. But that was the first time I read the book. The second time that I read it, I actually started doing all of these things. If you look in my room now, you'll see a whole bunch of things in terms of the exact amount of money it is that I plan to earn. Repeating my definite chief aim to me over and over again. Once in the morning, every day I wake up, and once before actually going to bed. And that is to be earning $100,000 per month. Now, that is how it is that following a lot of these steps, so last year I had my first 6-figure year. It didn't happen by me just, reading and everything. So I say that to say, follow exactly what exactly it says to do. Like, do it. It's going to take you a little bit of time because your brain is literally being rewired. And so actually do the things, so fix in your mind that exact amount. Many people, they just say, I want to be rich, I want to be wealthy, I want to do this. But what amount of money are you comfortable with? Some people don't even know how many zeros are in a million, how many zeros are in a billion, but yet you want plenty money. That needs to be taught. That is normalized. Very, very normal. And it will only become normal if in groups like these, we make it a normal conversation that, no longer you're dealing with 4 figures, 5 figures, but you're talking normal in 6 figures and 7 figures. So that's what really stood out to me. Who would like to go next?
Wait, before anybody goes next, is there anything that stood out to somebody else? So for me, when I read this for the first time, I stopped at the part that says like every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. And then I was like, oh, that's me right now. Because like I was telling everybody before, I didn't see the value of money. And then when I did, I started thinking about ways to get it. And so like within a whole day, my mindset about money changed. And then I started reading this book. And then I think when you don't come from money, it looks hard to attain. And so you see every like you think you have to know people, or I guess you have to be born into money to have money. And then when I read this book, I like how they break down each step, and each step isn't something that it's on it, like it's not hard, it's just a mindset thing, like simple things that you can do to retrain your mind and to like give yourself um like focus. And it breaks down ways to kind of like change your mindset to say to see opportunities and to build wealth. And I was like, okay. And I started doing these steps, and even like ideas that I didn't think I could have, I was like, oh, interesting, I have this idea, and how am I going to do this? And then it gives you kind of like a path to go down, and then the obstacles don't seem as hard because you have this like this whole thing that's broken down. And that's kind of what I took from that little thing, that little section.
Yeah, for me, the part that stood out the most, well, not stood out the most, it have me questioning a lot of things in my head. And it's the part where he said, I will burn all bridges behind me and stake my entire future on the ability to get what I want. Growing up, like everybody always saying, like, have a plan B if this don't work, or have a plan C if plan B don't work, and all that kind of stuff. So we're basically taught to like have backup. And for the past like year or something like that, I keep telling people that I only have a plan A. It's like if this plan don't work, then I'm doomed. Might as well just stop going at what I'm going at. And for me, I question a lot of things because sometimes I'm in a situation where like plan A can't be the only plan. What if plan A don't work? You have to like do something else. But for here, like Edison, the desire that he had, like this has to work or it's nothing at all. Like sometimes we go about doing things and we say we really want this, but deep down in the back of our mind, and sometimes in our heart, we kind of hesitant or we reserved because we're fearful that if this don't work, we have to have the backup plan. And we sometimes low-key have a backup plan in the back of our mind, knowing that we can fall onto this, and having that safety net kind of limits you to your full potential and the ability to just go for what you want. So for that part, as burn all bridges, I'm still trying to have the full understanding of it, because I still don't 100% believe that you should burn all bridges, because some you might need to cross again to get to where you want to go. But in this sense, I'm still kind of like gravitating and having a full understanding of what this
Hey, I can speak
means.
about this a little bit. Just personally, there was a time when, we started the IM Academy. And at that point, I developed a mindset where this is it. Like I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna make this amount of money in a amount of time. But that didn't happen. So it was a point where I had to go back to my job and go work for money. So at the end of the day, I understand burning all the bridges, but how much do you sacrifice? Like what do you do?
Yes, that's the thing that's going in my mind as well. Like, how much do you sacrifice to achieve what you want to achieve, or to achieve a dream? And my friend asked a question the other day. He was something like, when you're chasing a dream, how much are you willing to give up to continue chasing that dream? When do you find out it's time to like take a different route, or something like that? I don't remember exactly what it is, but that's where I'm kind of stuck right now.
Right. If I could just add a little bit, for me, how I see the burn all the bridges is to burn everything that does not lead you to that goal. So there may be other things that you do that will complement the goal that you're looking to achieve, and you're not going to burn what's helping you to get to that goal, but you will burn other things. For instance, if you're a person that like to go out and party, or if you're a person that spend money arbitrarily, or if you're a person that like to go out with friends drinking and stuff. You cut off those things. For me, that's how I see it. I mean, everybody might see it differently, because even when I started doing WCL and I was focused on getting to a certain star level, I had a lot of friends that I used to go out with, and we'd go hang out, go out and eat and stuff. And I cut out everything, every single thing. I stopped going out with them. I stopped hanging out. Everything that we used to do together, I just cut it out, because for me, it wasn't taking me to where I wanted to go. So that for me is where I would say, burn the bridges. You burn the bridges that does not lead you to that specific goal. As it relates, the other is funny because I'm reading this book for the first time, yeah? And when I read the part that says the 6 things, decide how much amount of money you want to make, write it down, decide by what, this is something that I do all the time. And I used to tell myself, I used to question myself sometimes. I used to say, but Anne-Marie, you must be crazy or something, because you keep saying this thing over and over. You keep writing down the same thing over and over. You keep, talking over and over about the same thing. And is now, after I'm reading this part of the book, I'm saying, well, no, I'm not really going crazy. That is what I actually need to do. So that for me, when I read that part, I realized, okay, wow, I'm actually doing something that needs to be done, so to speak. Yeah. So that stood out for me.
If I can just add something else, like quickly before we go into the next part. For the burning bridges part, I agree wholeheartedly. And I have a practical example, like in my personal life. When I was coming to Canada, when I was applying to universities, I didn't apply to any universities in Jamaica, because I was like, I'm either going to study abroad or I'm gonna die. And that was it. There's no other option. So I only applied to schools outside of Jamaica, and everybody thought I was crazy. And I was like, nope, it's this or it's nothing at all. And so I was like, sometimes if you know what you want and you know that you can do it, you just put everything into it and you believe in yourself and say, this is what I'm gonna do, and there's nothing else. Yeah.
Yep. You just have that thing that you desire and you just go for it. And all the other negative stuff, you just move away from it and just stay focused on whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
I have a question. Like, what if you have 2 things that you desire to achieve, but in some means and ways they kind of like counteract each other? Like, how do you go about like pursuing both of them at the same time?
Well, I guess you do both of them. I don't know. Or there must be one that might stand out a little more than the other.
I'll say the one that pays most once you're really
there
successful.
must be one that stands out
then
more than the other in whatever way form. Yes.
Because for me,
I still think is what you desire though, what you desire the most.
What if the thing that you desire the most is not what's paying you the most at the moment? So what are you going to give time to? The most of your time? What are you going to give it to?
It depends on, I don't know. For me, I would say it depends on your financial needs.
Yes, that's where I'm at right now. Because being a pro is what I desire most, like playing football. But at the moment, I'm not a pro. It's going on trials, it's traveling to different states, whatever, to get the opportunity to play. But that's not paying me. I live on my own. I do everything for my own. I'm the only one here for my family. So for me, and then I have the next desire to become financially free and be able to help family and achieve the goals that I have. But being a pro is not paying me right now. So
Why do you want to be a pro?
Why?
Why do you want to be a pro?
Because that's been my lifelong dream. And that is, being a pro is inspiration to me, because growing up, everyone, like younger kids and everyone look up to me as like, he's going to be a star someday. And that's my biggest desire. I've been playing since I'm like 6 years old. So that's my biggest dreams, for me to be a pro. But I also want to be financially free to help my family and change a lot of situation in my community.
So when you're financially free, let's say you had all the money that you wanted, would you still want to be a pro?
I feel like that's gonna be too late. The thing is, being a pro, I feel like it has a limit to play at the level that I want to play at.
But at this moment,
should
let's
do
say you're
both.
financially free right now. You got all the money that you want. Would you still chase being a pro? Would you still want to be a pro?
Yes.
A good
All
question.
right, then you got to be a pro.
So
Yeah.
you gotta be a pro, exactly.
Yeah.
So my
Alright.
thing is you do both,
That's what I'm working on right now.
and you do both.
And the thing to Zaran is that, and not just Zaran, but for everybody, what I find helps in, because you'll everybody's gonna find themselves making very, very difficult decisions as you go through this book. You're gonna find a lot of things changing, and it's making hard decisions like these. You love two things. Which one do you really, really choose? What I found really helped was going back to chapter 1 in the book, or in the intro, when it talked about what do you want most? You know, is it money? Is it fame? Is it power? What exactly does one really want? And once we sit down and understand to our core what that thing really is, every other decision becomes a little bit easier. So, for example, in terms of Zeran being a pro, based on what you're saying right now, you also want to be financially free, but you can have both. I mean, being a pro, obviously, there's a lot of training and everything like that. And probably the only time that's not spent while it is that you're not at training is probably at work. Replace at work to being able to earn money in your sleep. So that way you can actually focus on what your dream is, which is being a pro. So I mean, concurring with everybody said, sounds like you need to be a pro. And I mean, talking off the bat, bro, it's pretty easy to find ways of multiplying money. I'm sure Wale knows what I'm talking about. Zara knows what I'm talking about. There are different income streams that you can utilize to do that, be it Forex or this or that. I mean, and the thing too, and talking about it as all of us are Black people that are on here and mostly persons from the Caribbean and Africa, that other kids don't have a certain privilege when it is that they're born in a wealthy family. You know, they don't have to focus on working. So their parents can take care of them until the time it is that, you know, they actually get to being pro and they finally get that break. But for you, you have it a little bit harder, and that will make your story so much more inspirational to so many people out there. So keep working towards being a pro, and we're here to support you as it is that you continue to do that. So it will happen. It will happen. And that'll just make your story so much more. You'll remember this day when it is that you ask yourself this question as well. So you're not gonna know the solution now. But there's a thing called in the power of awareness that talks about one of the most powerful things is a mind that is so focused on one thing. That's not the exact quote, but your mind just simply cannot serve two masters. And when your mind is so focused on one thing, focus on that one thing. And this is not from me. This is based on me studying a lot of successful people all around the world, reading their bios. How did they do it? This and that and whatever. And they just focus on one thing. And somehow the universe just gave them the right situation, times, and people to make that thing happen. And then everything else just fell into place. So let's go pro, bro.
Appreciate it, everyone.
Hey, like Shannon said, is it ball or die, or ball is life? What is it?
Ball is life.
Get it?
All right.
Okay. Who wants to pick up from it is important after the steps? Anybody?
I can go next. I want to add to that. You guys are talking about, I was just listening. I was gonna put my 2 cents in, but you kind of having end up saying something that was similar to what I was gonna say about just keep focusing on one thing, because that's what I find that's pretty similar. Like most of these successful people, they say like kind of drop everything and just stick to one thing. And so yeah, you're gonna pretty much get what you want when you do that. And it's just interesting when you get like so close to what you want, all these distractions will start coming about. and it's for you to kind of like buckle down even tighter and just like keep going to where you want to go. So that's kind of what I see. And yeah, that burning bridges thing is kind of interesting. I can't, that thing is kind of, because what does it mean by burning bridges? As in, are you burning bridges like are you burning good bridges? Are you burning bad experiences as the bridge? You know what I mean? So that too, I'm kind of still on the fence with. I don't know, my phone's acting up funny. But I think if it's considered to negative things or like experiences, so to turn like a loss into a learning experience, to burn that bridge, as I say, it's like, okay, it was a loss, but you take it as a learning experience. You gotta burn it and just take the learn. I can understand that. But like if you have to, like something's not working out, you got to go back to your main job just to make that bread so you can go back and reinvest. I don't see how you could be burning that bridge. So it's I think it's like one of those things you gotta take a little grain of salt. That quote's kind of funny. It's kind of interesting to me. I don't really understand it too well, but that's my take on that. I was gonna just add to what you guys are talking about, but I can continue on if you guys want. No, yes, all right, cool.
Bro, go ahead.
All right. So it is, sorry, my phone is kind of, I'm on the phone, so it's gonna be a little interesting. I gotta zoom in and stuff. So it is important that you follow the instructions described in the 6 steps. It is especially important that you observe and follow the instructions in the 6th paragraph. You may complain that it is impossible for you to see yourself in positions of money before you actually have it. Here is where where a burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money so keenly that your will acquire it, the object is to want money and to become so determined to have it that you convince yourself you will have it. Only those who become money conscious ever accumulate great riches. Money consequences. I said that right? Consequences? No.
Consciousness.
Conscious.
Consciousness. Sorry. All right. Money consciousness means that the mind has become so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. To the unintended, did I say that right? Uninitiated? I said that word correctly?
Yeah,
Yeah,
uninitiated.
yeah.
To the uninitiated who has not been schooled in the working principles of the human mind, these instructions may appear impractical. It may be helpful to all who fail to recognize the soundness of 6 steps to know that the information they convey was received from Andrew Carnegie, who began as an ordinary laborer in the steel mills, but managed, despite his humble beginning, to make these principles yield him a fortune of considerably more than $100 million. It may be of further help to know the 6 steps here recommended were carefully scrutinized by the late Thomas A. Edison, who placed his stamp of approval upon them as being not only steps essential to accumulation of money, but necessary for attainment of any defined goal. The steps call for no hard labor. They call for no sacrifice. They do not require one to become ridiculous or credulous. To apply them calls for no great amount of education, but the successful application of the 6 steps does call for sufficient imagination to enable one to see and understand that accumulation of money cannot be left to chance, good fortune, and luck. One must realize that all who have accumulated great fortunes first did a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, wishing, desiring, and planning before they acquired money. You may also know you may also well know right here that you can never have riches in great quantities unless you can work yourself into a white heat of desire for money and actually believe you will possess it. You may well know also that every great leader from the dawn of civilization down to the present was a dreamer. Christianity is the greatest potential power of the in the world today because its founder was intense dreamer who had the vision and imagination to see realities in their mental and spiritual form before they had been transmuted into physical form. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank balance. Never in history of America has there been so great of an opportunity for practical dreamers as now exists. The 6 year economic collapse has reduced all men substantially to the same level. A new race is about to be run. The stakes represents huge fortunes which will be accumulated within the next 10 years. The rules of the race have changed because we now live in a changed world that definitely favors the masses, those who had but little or no opportunity to win under the conditions existing during the Depression when fear paralyzed growth and development. We who are in the race for riches should be encouraged to know that this this changed world in which we live is demanding new ideas, new ways of doing things, new leaders, new inventions, new methods of teaching, new methods of marketing, new books, new literature, new features for the radio, new ideas, moving pictures. Back of this Back of all this demand for new and better things, there is quality which one must possess to win, and definitiveness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants and burning desire to possess it. I keep going. All right. The business depression marked the death of one age, the birth of another. This changed world requires practical dreamers who can and will put their dreams into action. The practical dreamer have always been and always will be the pattern makers of civilization. We who desire to accumulate riches should remember the real leaders of the world always have been men who harnessed and put into practical use the intangible, unseen forces of unborn opportunity and have converted those forces or impulses of thoughts into skyscrapers, cities, factories, airplanes, automobiles, and every form of convenience that makes life more pleasant. Tolerance and an open mind are practical necessities of a dreamer of today. Those who are afraid of new ideas are doomed before they start. Never has there been a time more favorable to pioneers than the present. True, there is a vast business, financial, and industrial world to be remolded and redirected along new and better lines. In planning to acquire your share of riches, let no one influence you to scorn the dreamer. To win the big stakes in this change world, you must catch the spirit of great pioneers of the past whose dreams have given to civilization all that has of value. The spirit which serves as the lifeblood of our own country, your opportunity and mine to develop the market, our talents. Let us not forget Columbus dreamed of an unknown world, staked his life on the existence such a world. Sorry, butchering up this guy's paper, and discovered it. Um, Copernicus. Am I pronouncing that word right? Copernicus. How do you pronounce that word? Copernicus.
Copernicus, yeah. You said it
Copernicus.
right.
Oh, okay.
Or Copernicus, or
Copernicus.
yeah,
Nikos. Okay.
you got it.
Okay. Appreciate that. The great astronomer dreamed of multiplicity of worlds and revealed them. No one denounced him as impractical after he triumphed. Instead, the world worshipped at his shrine, thus proving once more that success requires no apologies. Failure permits no alibis. Put your dreams across and never mind what they say if you meet with temporary defeat, for they perhaps do not know that every failure brings with it the seed of equivalent success. Henry Ford, poor and uneducated, dreamed of horseless carriage, went to work with the tools he possessed without waiting for opportunity to favor him. And now evidence of his dream built the entire earth, belts the entire earth. He has put more wheels into operation than any man who ever lived because he was not afraid to back his dreams. Thomas Edison dreamed of a lamp that he could operate by electricity, began where he stood to put his dream into action, and despite more than 10,000 failures, he stood by that dream. He made it a physical reality. Practical dreamers do not quit.
All right. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you. I was like, workout.
Hey, good shit, bro.
Hey, you did great.
Practical
You did great.
dreamers
Do not quit.
quit. I like that.
Yeah.
Practical dreamers do not quit.
Yeah.
Same
And if
thing
you
we're
do not
talking about
see
last week.
great riches, if you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank account.
And they say whatever you can imagine, if you can imagine it, you can create it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Mhm. And every failure brings what they said, equivalent
seed
amount of success.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, we do things and we fail and we get disappointed and we stop and we give up. Never give up. Don't quit. Remember that story, what it was, 3 feet from gold,
Uh-huh.
the last chapter last week.
Yep.
I think
Never give up.
it's like he even said that in the present, in the time that we're living in, it's never been so easy to make your dreams a reality. And I feel like we're spoiled because he was born even before like this generation with all this technology. And if we don't utilize that, like we have so much knowledge at our disposal, like people used to have to go to university and pay thousands and thousands of dollars for information that we have at our fingertips. And so there really is no excuse. If you're suffering, there's no excuse because it's all there for you to just like apply yourself.
This guy basically did the research first.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Did the research first and put it in a small book, a book less than 200 pages. So we basically have everything at our hand. And like Hanif said, like you read this book and you just apply application, it can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So simple.
Just gotta keep working.
Yep. And he said success requires no apology. Failure permits no alibi. Like you just gotta keep going.
You know what's kind of crazy? I happened to just be in in an environment 2 days ago where these guys were just like there was a couple people just in and out, like it was just like a convenience store. But one thing I learned when I was in this environment, it was like if you have something to do, just do it and don't think twice. Because if it's especially if it's something you have to do that's progressive, like don't be lazy, just get it done and then just keep it moving. Every 15 minutes, you got to get something done, something that's progressive every 15 minutes. So something that was kind of interesting, like how he's saying, if you have a dream, you can't go against your dream, because we're living in reality, but our dreams is a part of our life too, we're dreaming that we can move this. I can take this cup and put it to my mouth. It's not a dream. I'm going to put it into action. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, you have an idea, I'm going to become a pro. I'm going to work on things every minute of the day to become a pro. I'm going to become a billionaire. I'm going to work on certain things to become a billionaire every day, So I think that's what it is. Just every moment.
Take action.
Yeah.
And even you guys saying that's like kind of the reason why I joined or I asked Hanif, if I could be a part of this. Being able to surround myself with people with familiar ambitions, people who can conversate about not just financial freedom, but the knowledge that it takes to even be there. I just want to, being able to soak that in and have that around me. Ultimately, that's what's gonna, I believe at least, that's what's gonna, help me at least. So, yeah.
100p. That's what it is.
I'm Eddie, by the way. I'm Edwin, by the way. I didn't formally introduce myself.
Nice to meet you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Edmund. Yeah, it's pretty simple how stuff is for us these days, and to like dreams, just like I just mentioned, like to become a pro has always been my dream. I just need to be practical about it. Just every single day I get up and I get 1% better towards making that happening. Simple. If that is going to the gym to work out, keep my fitness up. If that is get into the field, touch some balls, something, that is connecting to a coach, an agent, something like there's definitely a desire to get it done. And this chapter is speaking about desire, the burning desire, and belief. If you believe you can get something done, there's nothing stopping you as an individual, nothing. But what all these guys did was they had a desire and they believed they could get it done. Just like the world we're living in today is what is so mind-opening to me as well. Like we living in a world with skyscrapers and things. And I used to watch like old movies with Sharia and like horses and that kind of stuff, and how the world has changed from that into what it is today with big cities, cars, everything, technology, iPhones, all of that. Being able to send a message to someone on the other side of the earth.
Yeah.
That all happened because somebody had an idea, somebody dreamed of making it happen, and they just put the work together to accomplish it.
I think what Marcus said about not being lazy draped me because recently I've been very lazy and just like very comfortable and it's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, but not actually just like thinking about it, but not actually doing anything about it. So thank you for saying that because I needed that.
I can't even add to that. There's one guy I met, he told me, he's like, it's what you do with every 15 minutes of your day. So every 15 minutes of the day, like, did you do something that's progressive? Did you do something that's healthy? Did you do something that's like meaningful? And it's like, if you can narrow it down to every 15 minutes, and then he said you can get even like real crazy with it, because since we have the phones now, you could be multitasking. You could be doing something, like you could be like eating or whatever, but well, I don't promote eating and doing work, but like if you want, you can eat. You can be on your phone looking at stocks, checking
When
the
you multitask, you don't get shit done. You're just multitasking.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what I mean? Like, I guess you're saying like multitasking, like don't do more than one thing at a time.
If you really want to focus, you gotta focus on one thing. If you want to work.
Right. I agree. And then add the 15 minutes, every 15 minutes you're doing something progressive, like you focus on one thing, or maybe it's like 45 minutes, an hour, but making sure that there's no time being wasted. Like every
100%.
day, every second. Busta Rhymes was talking about the other day. I saw on a podcast. He's like, there's so many seconds in a day. You can't let a small bad second ruin the rest of the seconds of the day, because everything is like positivity is like all you have, and creativity is all we have. So gotta maximize everything, every moment we have.
I was reading something about procrastination because honestly, I don't know how I graduated college because I procrastinated the whole time of college. I'm a last minute kind of guy. And I read something that says like the moment you think of doing something, get up and get it done and see how easier your life gonna be.
Yeah.
And once I start doing that, it's so simple. I don't forget to do stuff anymore.
Hey, I don't know if it's true, but they say a lot of successful people are great procrastinators. They procrastinate a lot.
Yeah, the procrastination could be good in some ways, but like simple things like say you have the laundry to do or dishes to wash, and you walk past the sink and you're like, I gotta wash the dishes. Okay, but let me go sit down for 10 minutes and scroll through Instagram. That 10 minutes is gonna turn into 2 hours, and the dishes is still ain't done, and it's the end of the night and you don't get the dishes done. But if you walk past the sink and you're like, all right, I gotta do the dishes, and you just put everything down and you focus on that, like I said, focus on one thing, and you get the dishes done, that's out of the way. You don't gotta think about that for the rest of the day. And if you just go about your day like doing things like that, if you gotta do the laundry, just get it done right away. The moment you think about it, just get it done. If you don't have anything doing, just get it done. And I've been reading this book called Mindfulness. It's been like just living in the moment. Like if you're doing things, focus on that. Anything you're doing, it could be brushing your teeth, eating food. As long as you're in the moment, just focus on the thing that you're doing. And once you do that, you don't forget things. You don't feel lazy. You get to accomplish a lot more throughout the day.
Brother, how would procrastination? You said the guy said, say that again about procrastination is good for success.
No, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying they do procrastinate.
Sorry.
Right?
It's exactly at the top of the hour. I almost don't want us to cut off.
Are you cutting off the thing right now? We're progressing right now.
Yeah, I actually gotta go right now. So hey, it was good catching up. It was good talking with you guys. I really appreciate the value I get from you guys. You guys are very smart, and I will just looking forward to absorb as much information as I can. Learn from you guys as we move along. I appreciate you, Hanif. I appreciate you, everybody else, and yeah, catch you guys next time.
Excellent. Great, awesome, Wale. So, all right, Wale is gone. So I would love to continue, but there's a private equity deal that I'm working on with a business partner. Her name is, what's her name again? Juliet Tangen. I sent the link in the group. And one of the things we bring is in terms of opportunities to actually be able to earn income. Like literally, among everybody here, there are at least 10 different income stream opportunities for people to be able to make money: real estate, crypto, private equity, and whatever. So the link is in the chat. We might have to look at maybe instituting another meeting for the week, perhaps, if that is what people want, then sure, whatever it is that you guys want. But with that, we're gonna have to cut off and we'll pick up again next week. Do we want to continue on chapter 3 or do we want to, let's finish chapter 3. Let's get through the book. So I'll leave it up to everybody to go over the contents of chapter 2, do exactly what it says. And actually, next week we'll do accountability. Did everybody go through the 6 steps? Why don't we do that? And we can hold each other accountable. How does that sound?
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll do that then for next week. And Shannon, great hosting today. Who would like to host the call next week? Zoran did 1 week. Anna,
Anna?
you have to default now because Javon and Herschel are here. You good with
I
that?
think it's Jovan.
Javon,
Yeah, Javon, this new one.
so you good to go, Anna?
No,
No? Okay, all right. Next week then. Actually, let's throw Edmund in the fire. Eddie, I'll work with you. And Eddie's in Fredericton. And he has this burning desire. So I know it's going to be a great opportunity for you. So, Eddie, I'm volunteering you that you're hosting next week. Is that okay?
All right, let's do it.
All right, we'll work on it. Me and you will meet up today or tomorrow, and then we can work on it. I'll teach you how exactly it works. So, great work, everybody. If you would like to meet again, because the conversation is rich, people start to talk and talk a lot more, I realize. And like there's like people, you want to be around people like this all the time. And it's just the fact that all of us have the same goal that gets us a lot talking and talking and talking. So let me stop the recording. Please stop this thing.